Louis C. Gross II with Mr. Coffee.
Hello.
From the Veterans Administration and also Volunteers of America, who they subcontract to.
Yes, we work hand in hand.
Hand in hand?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So Mr. Coffee is going to talk about the Veterans Administration. Come over a little bit. And now, but as always, you know how we operate. Here's over here. That's us. Manhood Shelter at yahoo.com. Okay? Now, just want to get you to that out of the way. 2 quotes. Well, okay, here we go. 1 quote. The distance between who I am and who I want to be is separated only by my actions and words. Once again, the distance between who I am and who I want to be is separated only by my actions and words. What you say out your mouth must be exhibited in your behavior. A lot of times, young people see that what you say out your mouth, you don't really mean. That's called a hypocrite. And that's the reason why our children do the things that they do, because of us. Because they're always observing. Something I want to read to you, but I lost it. It's about education in children. But what it basically says is that, okay, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Mm-hmm. Train up a child the way he should go, and when he gets old, he will not depart from it. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he gets old, he will not depart from it. Well, as we can always see, our children are not being trained at the house. You know, the thing called home training? Because what happens in the house privately manifests itself publicly when that child's behavior is exhibited. And that's a reflection on you, parent. That's a reflection on you. You can't say, oh, well, he learned it at school. What he learned at home? How he learn how to lie? How he learn how to curse? At home. And we need to stop, lying about things that we do and say we didn't do. Because all it does is just transfer it to the child. So, anyway, Mr. Coffee.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being on the show.
I surely appreciate you all inviting me out.
I want you to give our audience, what do you do? Tell them what you do.
So I'm Robert Coffey. I'm the manager of support services for Volunteers of America at a place called Hope Manor 2, which is located on 60th and Halsted Street. I'm a 21-year veteran myself, Marine, proud and true. For all you Marine veterans out there, mm-hmm. But for all you other veterans, hey, welcome to the family. And basically what we do here is our head office is located on 47 South Polk Street in Chicago, Illinois, downtown. And we definitely provide multiple services for all of our veterans, from housing, job readiness, job placement, therapeutic services, transportation if needed, just a whole variety of services that are designed for veterans. No handouts, that these things were designed for veterans, period.
Mr. Coffey, question. There's been, since this political race has been going on, this campaign involving Tammy Duckworth, who's a veteran and also was the head of the Veteran Administration in Illinois. But I have to be frank with you. A lot has come out about the veterans in Illinois not being treated the way they're supposed to be treated. What do you have to say about that?
So let me say, first of all, the truth is the truth, and the truth always stands. The Veterans the Veterans Administration of Illinois is one of the ranked at the very bottom of all veteran administrations. And in the past, Tammy Duckworth, there's been some allegations of which there's political. It's hard for me to expound on because it's state reasons. But let me say this: any and every allegation, if there's some truth to it, needs to be vetted thoroughly. To find out, especially for our veterans. We are 1 in every 10 walks our walk in our pathways. We go from being a civilian to a military, male or female, and to a veteran. We don't go back to civilian life. We can never go back to what we can't go back to. We're veterans. We need to embrace ourselves as veterans. So for people to use veterans' names or use veterans for their own gain is not correct. It's not right. But what we are doing is we started with President Obama. We started the Veterans Homeless Initiative. We don't want any veteran living out on the street homeless. We've started those type of things, and then there's also been things for the VA.
I need to ask a question right there.
Sure.
The homeless population consists of a lot of veterans.
Absolutely.
So Can you expound on that?
Yes.
What's happening there?
Absolutely.
But, the question is, too, when you're discharged from whatever site you're at and you come home to wherever you live, do they have home assistance for you or financial aid or whatever?
So what happens is basically there's a cycle, whether you're out of the country or you're in country. When you get ready to leave your unit, what happens is when you initially sign up, you sign a contract with any military branch of service that you go into, and it's usually a 4-year contract, active duty contract.
Active duty
contract,
okay.
4 years. And if you decide that you don't want to be in the military anymore, you want to go home and you want to pursue other opportunities that are not a part of the military, you go to a class toward the end of your contract called transition assistance. And those classes are there to try to assist you to assimilate back to some type of civilian culture. And basically it's maybe 3 to 5 days long. And unfortunately, those classes often don't give the necessary tools for our veterans, those that are getting off active duty, to go back to their home of record, whether it's like myself, back to Chicago. Sometimes they can end up, without a good family structure, end up on the street. And we're finding that increasingly a number of female veterans,
on the street,
which is unsaid and unheard of. A lot of people, when they talk about veterans, they think male. No. So what we do here at Volunteers of America, what we actually have instituted a program, and we actually have other veterans and other people go out and find homeless veterans that are out on the street. We actually put these cards out and we give them to veterans to dial a number. They can dial.
Let me see.
They can dial 312.
This is over here. You all trying to get this. Let me zoom in.
Sure. The number is here on the back here. You get it?
Let's see. Oh. Let's see.
I can give them the number if need it.
Can we get it?
Sure.
I don't think so.
I don't think we can get it.
Okay.
So I can tell the number. The number is, if you know of a homeless veteran or a homeless female or male veteran, they can dial area code 312-564-2424.
Let me repeat that again.
And the number again is area code 312-564-2424. And also there's a 24-hour hotline at 773-495-9070. Again, that number is 773-495-9070. Let's get these veterans off the streets and into a shelter.
Let's deal with a psychological approach here too. What makes a veteran do 4 years and with a positive conduct and attitude, all of a sudden to be discharged and all of a sudden find himself on the streets homeless? What is the psych there? For me, a lot of times, some of our skill sets that we have that we've learned in the military sometimes don't equate and they don't apply to civilian culture or civilian community. So we often find ourselves as leader of men and women. If I'm in a mid-level management position in the military and I come back and I have to start at the very bottom, sometimes that's psychologically damaging for a lot of our veterans. Can't cope with that.
So therefore, what we do with job placement is we look at their skill set and we try to equate them to civilian skill sets. That way, we do mock interviews and we get them prepared mentally. Also, there's another service that we provide. Also, is therapeutic services that we provide for our female and male veterans. Also,
therapeutic sessions. How many do they get?
Well, as many as needed.
Tell me, okay, when you first get out, they put you into a class called transition.
Well,
for 1 week,
for 3 to 5 days.
And you've been in the military for 4 years.
I often say that
that doesn't equate.
Well, what I often say that is it took them 14 weeks to make me a Marine, and I stayed 21 years, and then it took them a week to try to transition me back to.
And that's almost impossible, isn't it?
Pretty much. What we have to do is we have to be there as people like Volunteers of America and other non-for-profit organizations. Also, we work hand in hand with different affiliates, as Jesse Brown VA. And
Jesse Brown. The VA is named after Jesse Brown. What did Jesse Brown do to get the honor of a brand name?
Now, I said, of course, I don't expound on political issues.
Oh, that's what it was.
So I would not be able to say as such, but Jesse Brown, from my understanding, because of course I've been gone for 21 years, I've just assimilated that. 21 years, a proud servicing each and every one of you all out there, and I was proud to serve. My daughters are watching, and I was proud to serve them. Proud to serve this gentleman here. Just proud to serve, and I would do it all over again.
We're proud to have you on the show also.
Thank you.
I'm just so sorry. I did some research on the Veterans Administration some time ago, and I was surprised to find out that they were about last in the nation in terms of in Illinois. In terms of dealing with our veterans, and I couldn't understand that. And then Tammy Duckworth comes in. You know, she did a good job in terms of losing her legs and all that, and then became head of the administration here. But she didn't do anything either. I don't really see where she's done anything for these veterans except catapulted from that to the political arena.
Well, let me say this about Duckworth. First of all, from one veteran to another, I can never. I thank her for her service and could never take anything. Yeah. She was one of our wounded warriors, as a matter of fact. Lost her legs flying her helicopter during wartime situations. But we're talking about that's a separate situation, and this is what catapulted her into. Then when you talk about her political career, and then you talk about the Veterans Administrations of Illinois, especially being one of the last in the nation, just a lot of misgivings, a lot of things that we like to call in the military that fell through the cracks. And as far as our veterans are concerned, often our veterans are misunderstood because civilians don't necessarily understand what we've been through. We're often labeled constantly, and then just say that maybe we just don't get the highest quality of doctors or nurses working in the VA, in which I believe that as a veteran myself that we should. I've been also a patient at Jesse Brown's VA before. So again, it was unfortunate hearing about all of those issues when I was active duty. Coming home, I would look forward to trying to come. Yes, it's a different story now because of it was profiled, and now that everyone knows about it, now we're living it. Right. Now there's a lot that's starting to be done about it to help those veterans at the VAs.
Now you deal with you're part of Volunteers of America, right?
Yes.
Can you expound on what they do?
Absolutely.
Briefly, we're going to call them.
Okay, briefly, just real quick and briefly. I'm the manager of support services. The first floor of my building is dedicated to the services provided for veterans, and the second, third, and fourth floor is where our veterans live, head of household veterans, single veterans, and it's a campus style.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We've got a caller. Question, comment, caller. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
How you doing, Steve?
Hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
All right, listen. A quick question and a comment. Well, two quick questions. First, we have one of the most wonderful, I don't know any military service on this God's green earth is better than what we have. I mean, from the sea, from the air, from the land. I mean, we waste more ammunition to feed the world over and over. There seems like there should never ever be a time that a military veteran that will go homeless. I mean, they give you $1 million machinery to use. They teach you so many things, what to do, and you do. And they fight for us while people are asleep. We can live peacefully and, without no wars over here. But when they leave the service, they come here, and now you hear people talking about the veterans are homeless. Now, number one, there's a candidate we know that had took monies away for collecting for the veterans, but it didn't never ever happen. Number two, it has to start from the top. I wonder if people really honest to say, why is this problem going on as today? And there's nothing being done for it. I mean, it's just senseless. It's just senseless. I mean, why? Why is this situation that's going on? And Lord, you always have a hell of a good show.
Thank you, sir.
But maybe the government need to.
That's what we aiming at.
On a not this time, because it's no sense that this is going on. But anyway, gentlemen, thank you for taking the call. Let me get out there so I can hear your response. And have a great and safe night.
Thank you, Steve. You want to
First of all, Steve, let me say one of the reasons why I chose to be in the military was for people like you And those with your thought process, saying the type of things that, and thanking us for our service. This is why we do those type of things. But now I have a slight theory. One of the reasons why I believe that so much bureaucratic red tape comes about is because back in the early 80s, the 70s, what have you, and when I went in the early 84, we had a lot of congressmen that actually either had done some type of service or had a family member that had some type of service in the military. So there was some type of direct connection. And these days, we don't. We don't have, many of them went to college or went to school or did some other type of trade or became businessmen or whatever have you. So they don't have that direct connection. So they don't know our life story. They don't know the things that we deal with from day to day. They don't know the high tempo of deployments. So when you have a nominee that says that maybe he will, every time if he has thin skin and doesn't have the temperament, the ones that hate war the most are the ones that are actually participating, which is us, the veterans. We fight for your freedoms, but we don't want to fight for someone that just basically is upset or they're upset about something that someone has said. We're going to go and we're going to take care of our home. That's what we do. Every war that we fought is an away war. It's never been a home ground war. Right. It's always been an away war. We protect your freedoms. So whatever you're doing, we protect your right for your speech, for your freedoms. That blanket that you sleep under, that red, white, and blue blanket that you sleep under, know this, that there's a Marine, a soldier, an airman that's over there, or a Navy person that's over there protecting that right.
Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the question.
Thanks, Steve.
Now, audience, our fellow people, we have veterans out there. If there's any veteran listening or watching this show, please call in and get some information if you need it from Mr. Coffee. Here's a chance to deal with a resource right before your very eyes. And that's another thing we need to do. When we have a resource, we need to utilize it. And by the way, with Volunteers of America, how did they get involved with the veterans situation?
Well, Volunteers of America is more of a it's also a social yes, and it's a non-for-profit organization. It's a non-for-profit organization, and it's a ministry. We also deal with foster care. Children, DCFS, we deal with foster care. We deal with the elderly. We deal with the disabled. Also
homeless.
And homeless, absolutely.
Veterans, you hear that?
Absolutely. Please, if you want to call, even if you don't, dial the even if you can't call in now, dial the number 312-564-2424. Dial that number. If you're homeless or you know of a homeless veteran, female or male, dial that number. They can assist you.
Thank you for that. Caller, you're on air. Question or comment? Go ahead. Caller, you're on air.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Is this Lewis?
Yes.
Okay, this is Ray.
Hey, Ray.
How you doing? Listen.
Okay.
Gentlemen next to you, you know what gets me mad? It's people that never want to work, and there are all kinds of them. You know, people that always looking out for a handout, and you have all of these veterans, all of us, every one of us, we have to stay out there. Well, go to the VA benefits. We should be first in line in every handout there is from every department of this United States. After all, we protected it. We were ready to give our lives, so it should be number one. But we're not. You know that. And now look at the VA, how it is now. You know, gee, you can't go to a VA without getting lost. They'll lose you. Or it takes you 220-something days to see somebody, you know. And I'm a proud American. I'm a Mexican. I was born for this country, to be this country and protect it. And I would go again, and only because I'm so proud of this country. We gotta start taking care of our vets even more. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're proud of you, Ray. Thank you very much for calling in. Thank you, Ray.
Let me say this, Lewis. In Dillon, as far as Ray is concerned, Ray, what we have to do is we have to get out there and we have to put people in place that have the best interest for our veterans. We have to get out there and we have to start talking, and we have to gather people that are like-minded. So if we're going to not just talk about it, we have to start making motions of things to happen. If people know that we're serious about this thing, in which we are here at the Volunteers of America, I don't work. This is not a job for me. This is a mission. Okay, I am on a mission to make all veterans have homes, financially stable. There's a natural progression to things that we do at Volunteers of America. We bring them into Hope Manor, and once we bring the families together, we actually start giving them classes and teaching them on how to be stable, financially stable, life skills, so they can be stable and they can move on from Hope Manor 2 and get housing. Not only do we teach them how to get a house, how to use their VA to get a house, but how to keep it. A lot of times we talk about getting a house. I want a house. I want a house. But then we run into some trouble or whatever the case may be, and then we don't know how to keep the house. So we give classes also for that. If you're in trouble with your housing, you're in trouble with utilities or whatever the case may be, we have services that are designed and for veterans. It's not a handout. Again, veterans, this was designed with you in mind. And we are at the head of the table in some things. It's a slow process, but we're still pushing. And with Volunteers of America and organizations like Volunteers of America, we're trying to be that loud voice for veterans to push us to the front of the table, because you deserve so much, because you gave so much.
Thank you for that one. Now, do you have any more callers? Please, I'm running out of time, so if you have any, if you want some information from Brother Coffee, here's the opportunity to do that. So, tell me something, sir. In your travels with Volunteers of America, the other issue.
Sure.
How many sites do you have in terms of homes for our veterans?
Great question, great question. So what we have first is what we call Hope Hall. Those are for our veterans. We're located over on the west side of Chicago in Melrose Park, and basically it's for our veterans that are in crisis due to drug, alcohol, or some type of mental illness or whatever the case may be. Absolutely. And so what we do is we help them. We get them in, try to get them in right away. We have a process that they have to go by, and we get them in, and we do our best. We have a therapy team that visits as needed, and then once a week, whatever day it is. And then once we get them stable, we do our best to move them to either a stable apartment, or we have another facility called Hope Manor 1. Hope Manor 1 is an all-male facility. It's an 80-person unit, and basically it's 30 single units, and all the other units, 50 units, are basically with 2- and 3-man rooms. They share a living space, but they have their own room. And again, a lot of times what we find is a lot of veterans, when they come home and they become homeless, they have families. They actually have families. But
what's happening with that?
Absolutely. So the mother might go with the kids to someone else's house. The veteran might come there. So what Hope Manor 2, what Volunteers of America decided to do was build a campus style called Hope Manor 2. And what Hope Manor 2 is that they bring the families back together.
Okay.
So you can bring your family with you and live in our row houses, and we also have 2- and 3-bedroom.
Everything on the south side.
On 60th and Halsted is actually that's the address for Hope Manor 2. It's 6002 South Halsted. And there's a process, of course, that they have to go through in order to get there. You have to be a veteran first.
One quick question.
Sure.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, PTSD.
Right. Is that running rampant amongst the veterans?
We find not only PTSD, but we also have something that's called now moral injury that's starting to surface. And what a lot of veterans don't like to do is be labeled. You got this wrong with you. You got that wrong with you. What we need to know that there's a sense of belonging. What we learn in the military is a sense of unit cohesiveness, and that comes with the sense of usefulness, structure provided. When we don't have that, oftentimes we have the PTSD based off things that we've seen and we're in real war, not this rhetoric that you hear about what's going on in our streets. We're talking about real wartime situations that we walk in, and that what happens to us. And when we come back to try to assimilate as veterans to our civilian community, what happens is that a lot of times we still remember those things, of course, just like any other human being. Absolutely. So we have therapeutic services to help us to deal with those situations. And even moral injury, it's not quite what they call PTSD, but moral injury is that if I'm a religious person and I believe, the Bible says thou shalt not kill or whatever, now I'm going over to another country and that's what I'm doing. And often I carry that baggage back with me. How do I deal with that? So what we do is we're starting to provide provide, it's not necessarily a therapeutic, because therapeutic also brings a label. So what you have to do is just make sure that we provide an open forum so you can try to voice your opinion, say what's on your mind, and maybe you can help another veteran out in talking about your experiences.
Thank you. Now, you've heard Mr. Coffey speak. Give me that number real quick.
312-564-2424.
Gotta go. Listen, if you feel as though you run out of rope, tie a knot and hang on. Everything's gonna be okay.
Absolutely.
Love you. Last show. Bye-bye.